Hare Krishna, dear devotees, Dandavat Pranam, Jai Shri Prabhupada, please accept my humble obeisances. Om Ajnanathimmirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namah. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Shrinti Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharane Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshtarane Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langayate Girim Yat Kripatam Ham Vande Shri Gurun Dinataranam Paramananda Madhavam Krishna Chaitanya Ishwaram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Bol. Thank you, everyone. Happy Independence Day. It's just a casual session, and thanks for joining impromptu like this. So we'll discuss a little bit about freedom, what it is, what does it mean to everybody. Like I said, I have some slides. I did not put much content on them. I just have some titles so that just to guide the discussion in a direction. So please pitch in with your thoughts. I have some thoughts on this topic that I've wanted to share for some time now, what it means. So let's hear if you're available to share, if you have a few moments to share your thought. What do you think is freedom? What does it mean? You know, we are celebrating Swatantrata Divas today. What does it mean to be free? What does freedom mean to you? Anyone would like to share any thoughts?
Hare Krishna, Madji, am I audible?
Yes, Mataji.
So Mataji, in my realization, freedom to me is that ability to do the things that is required and that is needed, that should be like, the things that I should be ideally doing. But there are always situations and, own vices that controls us. So I want to get free of those things and just want to do the things that I should be doing. So if I'm able to do that, means I am free.
Right. Okay, yeah. So freedom basically means to do what you want to do, right? To fulfill your goals, to fulfill your dreams, live where you want, have choices basically, right? If you want to read something, be able to read, choose your jobs, choose your spouse, eat what you want to eat, do whatever you like. But does it mean so then the next question is, yes, freedom means having choices, right? Not being suppressed by anyone, whether internally or externally. Like you mentioned, we have some vices that suppress us from inside. But then when we talk about freedom struggle of India, we're talking about external forces that were suppressing the growth of India. So we were talking about political freedom, basically, external freedom. And you are talking about internal and external freedom both. So freedom to me basically means to be able to have choices and to be able to grow and fulfill my dreams as I want to. Now, sometimes freedom, is quoted as to be able to do whatever you like, whenever you like. You may have heard freedom of speech, freedom of expression. कि हमारी freedom of speech खत्म हो गई है, freedom of expression खत्म हो गया है. So that is why I put here something called pillars of freedom. So yes, there can be freedom. We should all be free to do things that we like, but you can't just do whatever you like or whenever you like, wherever you like. You can't just speak whatever you like. You can't just dress however way you like or just act or conduct in any way you like. There has to be certain pillars that uphold freedom, just like there are pillars that uphold dharma, right? Similarly, there are pillars that uphold freedom, or there are, you can say, boundaries to freedom. So we are free. We are as a spiritual entity, we are a free entity. We are spirit soul. We are free everywhere. We are free to go anywhere we want. Whatever we do, we are supposed to be unlimited. But unfortunately, right now, we are trapped in this body. So we are within the confines of this body. Because we are in the confines of this body, we are in the confines of a material world, we are in the confines of a society, a community. That means we have to uphold the rules, the restrictions, the principles that come with this world, with this society, with this community, right? So just like, for example, traffic laws are often quoted as an analogy, right? If you're driving on the road, you can drive as fast as you like, but within the speed limit, right? So you can go, let's say, up to 80, but you cannot go up to 200 because that will be unsafe. So similarly, you have freedom to do many things, but there is a certain boundary also to that freedom. And if we exercise our freedom within that boundary, by practicing some caution, by exercising some restriction on ourselves, then we can enjoy that freedom much better actually. So you can drive up to the speed limit of 80 and you can enjoy the ride. Plus, you will be safe. You won't be harming yourself or others. And at the same time, everybody will reach their destination, will fulfill their goal of wherever they wanted to go. But if everybody started breaking rules, because I'm free to go wherever I like, I should not have to stop at red light. I can cross whenever I like. I can go to right when cars are coming on the left. I can head on to the traffic that's coming on head on. Then it will be unsafe for other people, for you. Plus, nobody will reach their destination. It will be dangerous. So then you will be a havoc to the society. So these things are, this word freedom is sometimes used very loosely, especially by the youth, who say we have freedom to do whatever we like. We have freedom to smoke, freedom to drink alcohol, freedom to eat whatever we like, wake up at any time of the day we like, sleep at any time of the night we want. We don't have to follow any rules. We are completely independent of this. So that is dangerous, right? So that's the point I was trying to convey, that there are certain boundaries. And what are those boundaries or pillars? Those boundaries are, one, our intelligence or knowledge. So think about it like a 4-year-old kid. A 4-year-old kid, ya koi bhi chota bacha, he does not know, he does not have enough intelligence, he does not have enough knowledge on what is right or wrong for him. So his parents have to guide him, have to give him knowledge that, don't eat this, don't accept food from strangers, don't go with somebody who's not your parents or family, don't step out of the house, don't cross the road like this. So some restrictions and rules they are putting on a child, and it is for his own good, because if he broke those rules, then he would get into big trouble, right? Some stranger may capture him, he may eat something that's not meant for him, he may go on the road when there is heavy traffic, something might happen. He may put his hand in the oven or touch the fire when the burner is running, like that. So if the parents don't guide him, if he does not follow their rules or instructions, then he can be in danger. So similarly, if we don't have proper intelligence, proper knowledge, proper guidance, and we just think we are free to do just anything we want, then we are causing a danger to ourselves and to others. So that is the state of today's society, that we are not giving enough knowledge. People don't want to listen to the authority over them. They don't want to listen to their parents or teachers. They don't want to follow any rules or instructions and just want freedom. But freedom has a cost. Freedom has a price. And the price is that you have to hone your intelligence. You have to have knowledge. You have to have proper guidance of your superiors. And within the confines of that knowledge, within the confines of that guidance, now you can responsibly exercise your freedom. So, but you cannot say I have freedom of speech and I can say whatever I like, because you don't know the consequences. Unless you know your consequences of your action, unless you know that you have a responsibility to the society, unless you have proper knowledge and background, you're following certain rules, that freedom will cause problems. So इसलिए freedom, और हम सब लोगों का क्या है कि we all have ignorance to certain extent. जैसे बच्चा ignorant है, छोटा बच्चा है ignorant है, ऐसे ही हम लोग, even though we are grown ups, doesn't mean we are completely knowledgeable. We also have ignorance at different stages of life to different extent in different people. So before we exercise our freedom or try to act completely independent, we should make sure that we are acting responsibly, that our conduct, our culture, our speech, our clothing, our behavior, everything is, we have to be cautious. We have to take guidance of our authorities, of our superiors. So otherwise, if you are acting in poor consciousness, poor knowledge, with worldly perception, with selfish attitude, enjoyer attitude, just keeping yourself in center, then that freedom is actually going to cost a lot to other people and to you. So इसलिए लोग फिर इंडिया में भी देखा है, यहाँ पर भी देखा है, people speak irresponsibly, write irresponsibly, make movies irresponsibly, in the name of freedom of expression, in the name of freedom of speech. तो इसलिए freedom है हमें, लेकिन हमें अपना हमें उसको responsibly practice करना है, responsibly knowing the consequences. You have to make decisions. Otherwise, जैसे छोटे बच्चे को decisions make करने नहीं दिए जाते, इसी तरीके से those adults who are not practicing their freedom with caution, they are also not really supposed to make decisions. So every individual has a free will, but be cautious that you practice it within the confines of this world. So ये एक thought थी that I wanted to share, that there are certain boundaries. तो freedom completely free नहीं है, हम थोड़ा bound हैं इस freedom में भी, क्योंकि इस material world में completely free होना बहुत मुश्किल है. So there are certain pillars that you have to uphold, and the pillars are knowledge, pillars are guidance of the superiors, pillars are instructions of the scriptures, rules and regulations of the society and of the world that we have to keep in mind. And within those confines, within that diameter, that circle, you should practice your freedom as much as you want, right? Does that make sense? Would anyone like to share or ask anything about this? And Krishna has also given many, many rules in Bhagavad Gita about what our conduct should be, what our speech should be like, what our body language should be like, what we should eat, right? How we should act, body, mind, and words, say how we should act. He gives those restrictions, those guidelines. And if we choose to follow those guidelines, then there can be growth, then we can fulfill our dreams, we can behave properly, responsibly, and everybody can grow. So that is the boundaries of freedom. This is one concept I wanted to share based on Bhagavad Gita's understanding. उसके बाद आगे चलते हैं, unless somebody has any question. Okay, so then real freedom. एक माताजी ने point बोला था about internal versus external. So we were talking about when we talk about India's independence, we are talking about external independence, right? Because it's a political independence. We were being oppressed. We were being treated like low-class citizen in our own country. We were treated as second-class citizens in our own country, being acting like slaves to a foreign people that did not know the culture, the customs of the country, that were unfamiliar with the tradings, with the language, with everything, with the religion of the society, and yet they were oppressing the native people of the land. And so that was an external suppression of the freedom. And when externally the freedom is suppressed, of course, internal freedom also, it is difficult to grow. अगर कोई आपको externally बाहर से, जैसे कि कोई spouse है, दूसरे पे restrictions डालता है, तुम ये नहीं कर सकते, वो नहीं कर सकते. So externally, if somebody is not allowing you to grow, then it is very hard to grow spiritually as well. It becomes hard, and then internal vices also grow. तो पर ये होती है external freedom जो इंडिया की थी. और इंटरनल फ्रीडम होती है कि हमारे अपने जो बैड क्वालिटीज हैं, बैड हैबिट्स हैं, सो टू गेट फ्रीडम फ्रॉम दोज, freedom from our vices, like Mataji said, freedom from anger and greed, pride, lust, illusion, from various prejudices, from various biases, from the control of our mind, freedom from control of our senses. So all that is internal freedom that we have to work on. So actually living in USA, we are very fortunate because we have external freedom. We even have freedom to practice our religion freely. Some countries, people when move, they don't have freedom to practice their religion. They have to hide their temples inside the houses. They cannot build temples freely. They cannot celebrate festivals freely. They cannot wear any markings on their body like tilaks and various Hindu Vaishnava attires freely. So we have that external freedom here. So now all we have to work is on our internal freedom actually in this country, in our modern day scenario. और इसको कृष्णा बताते हैं in Bhagavad Gita that the biggest thing that we have to control to get internal freedom is our senses and our mind. So he says there are two types of people in this world. there are Goswami or Godas. Go means senses. So Goswami ka matlab hai people that are master of their senses. Goswami means master of senses. And Godas means somebody who is a slave of their senses. So most of us are Godas because we are controlled by our senses so much. Agar kuch dimag mein aa gaya, we have to eat something, then we want to eat that right now. Right? We don't have control over how much we are eating, what we are eating, what we are watching, what we are hearing, what we are touching. You know, all these things, all these senses, we are under their control. So that is called Godas. Similarly, we are in control of our mind. Mind should be in our control, but rather we are in the control of our mind. So इसको भी लोग बोलते हैं जैसे कि हमें freedom चाहिए to be able to use illicit substances, freedom to smoke, freedom to drink. But even that, you know, is not real freedom. इसलिए real freedom है जो आपको unlimitedly free करे. But what happens with smoking or alcohol and certain illicit things is that they not only start controlling you, they make you their slave. So they actually take away their freedom. You think you are free to smoke, but then comes one day when actually the cigarettes have made you their slave. So you're not their master of cigarettes anymore. The cigarettes have become your master. So that is a very poor situation for a jiva who was supposed to be unlimitedly free, and now he's enslaved by this product of material nature, this product of Maya, and he has become a Maya's das. So this is such a tamasic state for this person who has come under the control of a fallen thing like that. So easily we become slave of our bad qualities, slave of our anartha, slave of our bad habits. These are godas. So most of us, especially me, I know is a godas, is a servant of our own senses, her own mind. So we are enslaved quite a bit. इसमें एक स्टोरी आती है जैसे कि क्या हुआ इंडिया में एक बार जब सिकंदर आया था, Alexander the Great, right? Alexander the Great was finally defeated in India, if you know the story. So when he came to India, he came across a saint who was sitting on the banks of a river, and he was meditating. And Alexander was used to people getting up and bowing down to him. Whenever he came across ordinary people, they would bow down to him. But this saint did not get up and bow down to him. So Alexander got very angry, and he told that saint that, you know, he started yelling at him that, you know, what impudence you have. You did not bow down to me. You don't pay obeisances to me, and I'm the master of the whole world. I'm the current conqueror. I have conquered the entire world, the great Alexander. So that saint told him that, you know, I don't think you're master of anything. I am the master. So he said, oh, how can you be the master? You don't even have proper clothes to wear, a house. You don't have any army. You're just sitting here and you have no belongings, nothing, not even a family. How can you be a master of anything? So he said, I may not have, you know, property and kingdom and soldiers and citizens and things to rule, but I'm master of my own anger. And you cannot even master your own anger. You're not even in the control of your own mind. It is so bewildered that you are yelling at a sage. So you are controlled by your anger, you're controlled by your senses, and so you are a slave of your anger and your senses. So you're not a master of anything. If you cannot be a master of your own body, how can you be a master of anything else in this world? So in this way, this is the situation of a Goswami versus a Godas. Goswamis are the controller of their senses. So in this world, you know, that we have two options. One option is we can become servant of Maya, जैसे कि अगर आप कुछ जो भी अपनी senses को control नहीं कर सकते, mind को control नहीं कर सकते, then they will start controlling you, and you will become servant of the Maya. You will start serving your senses, or you can become servant of Krishna. So there are only two choices. There is not a third choice. There is no third choice. या कृष्णा के दास बन जाओ या माया के दास. So most people have, you know, taken the easier route and decided to become servant of Maya, Maya's das. And so they are indulging their senses. जो मन में आया, जो senses ने बोला करने को वो कर रहे हैं. So that is a very fallen condition. But that is what it means. The real freedom, you know, not only external, but actually internal freedom from bad habits, bad qualities, bad control of bad senses, control of mind. That is the internal freedom. Let me stop, just pause here for a few minutes. So ये real freedom का था, लेकिन अभी हम थोड़ा इंडिया के बारे में भी बात करेंगे. Anybody wants to share anything from this? So just like we were talking about the paradigm shift or change in perspective, I wanted to change your perspective in the way we think. So do you really think that by getting the external independence from British rule or from the rule of Mughals and then from the rules of Britishers, we have really become independent? Have we really, what does everybody think? Have we achieved that internal independence? Is our mind free? Is our senses free?
Hare Krishna Mataji, if I may share again.
Yes, ma'am.
So, like मुझको लगता है कि इंडिया को जब ये ब्रिटिश रूल कर रहे थे, that has contributed a lot for our internal क्या बोलते हैं उसको प्रॉब्लम्स, कि अभी तक हम फ्री ही नहीं हो पाए हैं अपने चीजों को जो है कि प्राउडली बोल नहीं पाते हैं, या आई मीन इट इज अ वेरी कॉमन प्रॉब्लम, और लाइक तो ऐसा हो गया कि दो एक्सट्रीम सिचुएशंस में रहते हैं हम, या तो अपने आप को अपने आप बोल नहीं सकते, या फिर एकदम आके ऐसा कि आओ लाइक आई एम द बेस्ट वन। तो बीच का वो जो संतुलन है, बैलेंस है, वो तो लाइक इट गॉट all messed up, and this rule, like outsiders from India had a biggest contribution in this. नहीं तो देखा जाए तो ओरिजिनली हमारा कल्चर एंड लाइक the teachings and the Vedic system that we had, it was so empowering. लेकिन वो सब इन्वेजन की वजह से सारा मतलब जो है कि मेस्ड अप हो गया. So I think we are still suffering
Yes,
from
ma'am.
that.
Yes, Madhuri, you're right. So we are still suffering. We are still under. It's so yeah. जैसे बोलते हैं ना, ब्रिटिशर्स तो अंग्रेज तो चले गए, लेकिन फिर भी हम लोग अभी तक bound ही हैं. So what are we bound by? We are still enslaved in the mind by the British thought process, by the Britishers. They have created this inferiority complex in us that Indians have really just lost their confidence. They have lost their self-esteem. They were told, systematically, their religion, their culture, their educational system, everything was destroyed. And so they have developed this inferiority complex that they want to just imitate the Western people. They had such a solid civilization, such an amazing cultural heritage, such amazing traditions, rituals, festivals, languages. But instead of being proud of those, they just want to imitate, and they want to impress Western people. They want to impress America. They want to impress Europe, and they just need validation from Western people. So this has become the state of Indian people. They're not proud of being Hindu. They're not proud of celebrating their culture, celebrating their festivals. They're not proud to wear Indian clothes in public, let's say in America, or even in India for that matter. कोई मुझे बता रहा था, अभी गए थे, कि उनको बहनजी बहनजी बोलते थे अगर साड़ी या सूट डाल रहे हैं तो. अगर तिलक लगा रहे हैं तो क्या बन गए हो तुम, ये वहां जाके ये क्या हो गया है, कि क्यों कर रहे हो, शॉर्ट स्कर्ट्स डालो, ये सब. All this is more prevalent in India. So we're just trying to very um, trying to impress somebody else very hard. And in this world, as you understand, trying to impress anyone, trying to get validation externally is a failed cause. It will never help, because it's very hard to satisfy other people. तो वही बात है, जो अपना नहीं हो सका वो दूसरों का कैसे होगा. So if you cannot be true to your own heritage, to your own roots, true to your own culture, then people actually do not respect you. You actually lose respect. You lose your identity in the eyes of the world. तो जब आप किसी को imitate करते हो, actually अपना ground hold नहीं कर पाते, तो actually then people judge you, then you lose your respect and your identity in the global context. And that is what is happening to India. So unless all the people, they decide, they realize, they start reading their history, they start understanding they start building up their confidence back again, start imbibing the lost values that Bhagavad Gita taught, that Bhagavatam teaches, unless they start imbibing them, reading them, proudly display their books on the shelves and proudly wear their clothes and proudly celebrate their festivals and go to temples and contribute to the temples, and stop contributing to all these Bollywood anti-India culture being propagated in so many things, then India has a chance to redeem itself. Baki, you can send Chandrayaan 3 to the moon and all this is fine. Externally, it looks very good on a global, um, you know, um, space missions. May it looks very good, but internally you're so broken that all your youth is just trying to imitate. All the youth is trying to imitate the Western people. Their dream is to go to America. Their dream is to find a job in America. To the boys want to marry an American girl and have green cards, and this is the state. And same thing with us, when we came to India, came to US, we came with this tendency that India has become very backward, lack of resources, lack of opportunities. So let's go to a country which will give us more opportunities, which will give us more resources, where we can freely, grow and fulfill our dreams, right? So we wanted more freedom, and so we think we can get it in USA. I'll come around to what we can do here while we are in USA. But let me ask you the next question. So why did Bharat get invaded in the first place? If our culture, our heritage, our traditions, our lineage, our ancestors, our kings were so strong, our politics was so strong, we were following Chanakya Niti and whatnot. How come we got invaded so much, so many times? Why is there like almost a 1400 years of history of invasions, back-to-back invasions that broke the back of the country? Why did that happen? So one of the things that I have understood from various discussions and things that I heard is that India lost its place. India became invaded so much is because it stopped taking pride in its culture, in its religion and traditions and things, even before the invaders came to India. They started they stopped practicing the various values, the virtues that were taught, principles that were taught in Bhagavad Gita, actually way before the invaders came. So they made it easy for invaders to contaminate them, to pollute them. तो इसमें फिर से बच्चे वाला एग्जाम्पल आता है कि जिस बच्चे को पता नहीं कि उसको किससे क्या लेना चाहिए, क्या बात करनी चाहिए, तो उसको उसको फूल करना आसान है, राइट? अगर हम किसी छोटे बच्चे को बोले नहीं तुम्हारे पेरेंट्स क्या तुमको ये खिला रहे हैं, मैं तुमको ये खिलाता हूँ देखो, और वो उनसे लेके खा ले, राइट? वो किसी स्ट्रेंजर के साथ चला जाए, तो इस तरीके से अगर वो अपने अपनी instructions को भूल जाए, the instructions that were given to that child, then he will be fooled. He does not understand his own identity. He does not know who he is, who is his well-wisher, and he starts then he can easily be bewildered, confused by the foreign people. So ऐसा इंडिया के साथ भी यही हुआ कि foreign invaders came and they basically we did not know our own culture and they started showing the deficiencies of our culture कि तुम्हारे कल्चर में कास्ट सिस्टम है, सती प्रथा है, फीमेल इन्फेंटिसाइड है, जितने भी जो चीजें थी हमारी हिस्ट्री हमें पता नहीं थी, लेकिन हमारे इन्वेडर्स को हमारी हिस्ट्री बहुत अच्छे से पता थी. They studied the history so they can expand their business in India, so they can have missionary movements in India. So they studied the culture, the heritage so nicely that they could pick out the things they would point to us to make us feel bad about them. तो उन्होंने निट पिक करके वो चीजें निकाली जिसमें उन्होंने रिफॉर्म्स शुरू किए. हम तुम्हें ठीक करेंगे, तुम बहुत पिछड़े हुए हो, you are worshipping animals, you are animal worshippers, you are worshipping stones and trees and whatnot. We will teach you the right thing. So since we did not know why we are doing anything, what our customs are, what our traditions are, what is the meaning of our rituals, since we could not uphold them, since we did not have any pride in them, they could tell us whatever they like and we would believe them and thus get contaminated. तो फिर हमें जब अपना पता ही नहीं, तो जो भी हमें कुछ आके बोलेगा हम उसको मान लेंगे. उन्होंने बोला कि देखो ये तुम्हारे सती प्रथा होती है या कास्ट सिस्टम है, हमें कास्ट सिस्टम पता ही नहीं कि वो क्या है, क्या उसकी वैल्यू है, कैसे उसकी एप्लीकेशन है, क्या उसकी प्रैक्टिस है, तो हम उसको ठीक करेंगे। तो हमने उनको ये ले लिया कि ये लोग हमारा भला करने आए हैं, इनको या एक्सेप्ट देम, they are going to teach us something nice, they're going to remove the evils from our society. So these so-called evils that were actually not the real problem, but they highlighted those things as very big problems of the Hindu religion and of our Indian culture. And India is such a backward country, ये सब portray इतना ज़्यादा किया that they were able to break through into our society, into our mindset, and be able to invade and oppress and treat us as slaves for so long. So this is so we did not get invaded and then we lost our culture. We were already losing our culture, and that's why we got invaded. तो इसीलिए अभी भी अगर जैसे if you are not know your identity, if you're not well situated in your practices, if you're not well situated in your faith, even living in this country in USA, and USA is a country where people are actually very nicely practicing their faith. People are actually, at least in this part of the world where we are in the south part, people are practicing their faith. They read Bible, they know the verses, they go to the churches, they practice their faith, they teach it to their kids, and they're very proud of it. So in such a country, if you want to get respect, if you want to really earn your place, if you want to be recognized, appreciated, then you should also know your culture. You should also practice it firmly. You should also be very solidly situated in your traditions and rituals, and you will get actually more respect. You will build your esteem in this society uh, by being well situated in our culture. So this is this is one of the things that we lagged even before Bharat got invaded. They were already becoming weak, and so it's very easy to break through into a weak country like this. But that's some of the thoughts. But now that I think finally after 77 years of independence, India is coming around to um, building their confidence again, thanks to people like you who take pride, who spread the message of Bhagavad Gita, who spread the correct values to their kids and to their dependents, that India is again starting to regain its footing. So not only externally but internally, you can rebuild Bharat if you're preaching to the youth the values and the system, and help them take pride in their civilization. तो बहुत बहुत ही महान जो इतिहास है उसको हम मिथ बोल बोल के खत्म नहीं कर सकते. So Britishers created this word mythology, Hindu mythology. So this word was also coined by Britishers only. So this is not mythology, this is itihas, and we should teach this itihas of like Mahabharata, Ramayana, Bhagavatam to our kids, so they can imbibe the values, they can understand how amazing, how our identity is universal actually. We are not confined into this, we're just confined into this body, but we have universal identity. So teach this itihas to the youngsters, to the youth. That is another thought. Iske pehle I wanted to talk about this, ki ultimate freedom to liberation hi hai. We are trapped in this body, we know that. And so that's why we have so many, we are full of anxieties, despairs, problems. So if we want to be free of those things, anxieties, fears, wounds, bad thoughts, then really we just need liberation from the body, from the senses, from the mind, from this world. And we should depend on the Lord. The real freedom is in dependence on the Lord. तो डिवोटीज के बारे में एक्चुअली ये बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट कॉन्सेप्ट है. ऑल ऑफ यू आर प्रैक्टिसिंग डिवोटीज, that devotees depend on the Lord and the other devotees. Devotees never say we are independent. भगवान independent हैं, हम actually dependent हैं on the devotees and on the mercy of the Lord. So in this way we are dependent for them to liberate us. And our full dependence is on the Lord. Our full dependence is on the devotees, on the other Vaishnavas. And knowing this, the devotees are completely at peace, completely self-satisfied, and even within this body, they stay free of fear and anxieties and bad thoughts and hurts of the world, just knowing that they are dependent on the Lord. So we should put our dependence on the Lord and devotees. इसलिए हम जो भी चीजें करते हैं अपनी प्रैक्टिसेस में भी, जैसे साधना में, रीडिंग में, हम डिवोटीज की गाइडेंस में करते हैं, डिवोटीज की इंस्ट्रक्शंस में करते हैं. वी डोंट से दैट वी आर इंडिपेंडेंट. We take shelter of some guru or seniors or scriptures while performing our practices also, because we know that we are trapped in this body and we can get distracted, deviated. So we need their instructions, we need their guidance. इसलिए freedom हमेशा किसी की guidance में, किसी की instruction से, किसी के rules और restrictions के दायरे में की जाती है practice. इसीलिए हमें भी अगर ultimate freedom चाहिए, liberation, तो actually हमको अपने seniors, अपने वैष्णवास, गुरुज की guidance में अपनी साधना practice करनी चाहिए. किसी को बताना चाहिए हम कितनी माला का जाप करते हैं, हम क्या रीड करते हैं, क्या नहीं करते. डिपेंड होना चाहिए उनकी मर्जी के ऊपर. तो इंडिपेंडेंट होना, ये स्वराट जो है भगवान का नाम है. भगवान इज कंप्लीटली सुप्रीमली इंडिपेंडेंट, बट वी आर डिपेंडेंट ऑन हिम. और कलयुग की सिचुएशन ये है कि वी डोंट वांट टू एक्सेप्ट एनीबॉडीज अथॉरिटी, वी डोंट लाइक टू फॉलो रूल्स. सो बट एक्चुअली बाय फॉलोइंग द रूल्स वंस बिकम्स फ्री. तो अगर शॉर्ट टर्म में कोई थोड़ा रूल्स फॉलो कर ले तो लॉन्ग टर्म में वो फ्री हो जाता है. जैसे कि थिंक अबाउट, जैसे हम कॉलेज जाते हैं, हम 4 साल कॉलेज करते हैं. कोई कहे कि कॉलेज जाना तो एक बंधन है, ये रूल्स है, मैं क्यों फॉलो करूं. लेकिन अगर आप 4 साल कॉलेज जाओगे, उसके बाद आपको डिप्लोमा मिल जाएगा एंड यू विल बी फ्री, राइट. तो अगर आप ये थोड़ा सा रूल्स फॉलो कर लो तो अल्टीमेटली यू विल गेट फ्रीडम. तो इसीलिए ये जो रूल्स होते हैं जो भगवान ने बनाए हैं, या जो हमारे पेरेंट्स बनाते हैं, हमारे टीचर्स बनाते हैं, सीनियर्स बनाते हैं, दोज रूल्स एक्चुअली अल्टीमेटली सेट यू फ्री. सो उनकी इंस्ट्रक्शन या रूल्स को फॉलो करना कोई बॉन्डेज नहीं है. एक्चुअली दैट सेट्स यू फ्री फ्रॉम द रियल बॉन्डेज ऑफ दिस वर्ल्ड. इट सेट्स यू फ्री फ्रॉम द कार्मिक बॉन्डेज. जैसे कि कोई कहे कि मैं जितना मर्जी चाहे सोना चाहता हूँ, आई वॉन्ट टू स्लीप. So you would say, so he's saying that I'm master, I want to sleep as much as I want. But actually I can say, no, you are a slave of your sleep. You are a slave of your sleep. You are not free to sleep, but actually sleep is your master. So is tarike se so many other things like that. I'm free to eat and as many gulab jamuns as I want. You're not free to eat as many gulab jamuns as you want. The gulab jamuns have now become your master. So you're not free to smoke as much as you want, but actually the cigarettes have become your master. So that you're not even free to breathe fresh air anymore. Ultimately, cancer will become your master, right? So इस तरीके से कुछ rules regulations follow करने से ultimately जो freedom मिलती है वो फिर बड़ी तरीके की freedom मिलती है. You get freedom in a bigger way, in a deeper sense. So that's why in our traditions it is taught that we should follow good guidance. We should follow those rules set by our teachers and parents and seniors, because they will set you free in the long run, and in a deeper way you will get the freedom, the real freedom. अच्छा, इसमें क्या फर्क होता है स्लेव और सर्वेंट में? कोई somebody would like to, हम फ्रीडम की बात कर रहे हैं, तो स्लेव भी ऐसा लगता है कि फ्री नहीं है और सर्वेंट भी लगता है कि जैसे फ्री नहीं है, लेकिन दोनों में एक डिफरेंस है. व्हाट आर द डिफरेंसेस बिटवीन बीइंग अ स्लेव और बीइंग अ सर्वेंट?
Asmat Gurubhyo Namaha, is servant somebody who is serving by choice, and slave is somebody who is being forced to serve.
Yeah. Yes, Prabhuji. Yes, that's perfect. So slave is somebody who's serving because of fear or because of oppression, because of they're being forced out of fear. And out of fear is a very poor reason to serve somebody, right? Servant is serving out of love. Servant is serving with joy. So he gets joy. He is joyful. He's doing it willingly, voluntarily, right? He has a relationship with his master or whoever he's serving. Just like we are serving our family, we have a relationship with them. We enjoy serving them. It's a joy to cook. Let's say I'm cooking for my parents. It's a joy. It is out of love. It is like a reciprocation. It shows your emotions. It shows your mellows of love, right? So it is a joyful thing to do. It is done willingly. It is done with a service attitude, completely as a reciprocation of relationship. Whereas slavery is a miserable situation. It is an oppressive situation. It is forced out of somebody, and it ultimately brings misery. Now, in this world, what happens is when we give into the various sense objects of this world, we become a slave of them. So हम बन जाते हैं माया के, हम slave बनते हैं. We don't become a servant of Maya. We become, जब से मैं बोल रही थी ना माया दास, you actually become a slave of Maya. जैसे हम अपनी बैड क्वालिटीज के स्लेव बन जाते हैं, हम चाहकर भी रोक नहीं पाते, चाहकर भी कंट्रोल नहीं कर सकते. और सर्वेंट बनते हैं हम भगवान के, भगवान के हम दास बनते हैं, not a slave. So that is what, so the devotee's aspiration is to become a servant of the devotee, servant of Krishna, and depend on Krishna and not become a slave of Maya. So this is a constant fight. So this is a constant fight. Just like freedom fighter were fighting for the freedom, we are also fighting for freedom from Maya slavery. We don't want to become slave of Maya. We want to become servant of the Lord. So we have to fight against Maya. This is a constant battle. This is a daily battle. And in everyday practice, you have to do something to fight against Maya. That's why we chant Lord's names. That's why we read Bhagavad Gita as a constant fight against Maya, that I will defeat you. I don't want to become your slave. I want to become servant of Krishna. So so be that spiritual fighter who fights himself and who engages other people in the fight also. And it is a beautiful fight. It is a beautiful struggle. It is a daily struggle. Every day you will have to remind yourself, okay, today I have to chant Lord's names. Today I have to read Bhagavad Gita. Today I have to eat prasadam. Today I have to serve the devotees. Today I have to do deity worship. I have to light a lamp. So it is a struggle, but it is a beautiful struggle which will ultimately set you free, just like freedom struggle. So this is a type of freedom struggle, but it gives you not only a political freedom, it gives you ultimate freedom. It gives you the liberation, ultimate position of being servant of the Lord. So this is, otherwise Maya is very, very tricky. If we don't take constant shelter of the Lord on a daily basis, if we don't fight this battle every day, Maya is very tricky. और भगवान ने माया को ऐसे बनाया है, it is like a cage. But cage के कोई जो bars हैं वो दिखाई भी नहीं देते. You can't even see what is holding you inside. There are no bars, there is no physical limits, yet you cannot escape this cage. The door is wide open, but the bird is not able to fly out. So Krishna ने ऐसे entrapments, ऐसी attractions बनाई in this material world that we get so absorbed in the world and its attractions that no one wants to leave. They just want to keep enjoying this material world. So we are bound by the shackles, the chains of the three gunas, the three modes of this world. We are bound by karmic reactions. So many bondages we have in this world. So we are very much trapped. Is body में trapped हैं, is mind से trapped हैं, is senses से trapped हैं, three modes of material nature से trapped हैं. Everyday work में जो bondage मिल रहा है, karmic reaction से trapped हैं, अपनी ego की वजह से trapped हैं, intelligence की वजह से trapped हैं. So these chains are such that you cannot even see. और कई बार एक ऐसे कहानी भी आती है कि एक बर्ड था, पैरट था, वो केज में था. वो इतने समय से उस केज में था कि जब मालिक ने वो केज खोल भी दिया, तब भी वो उस केज को छोड़ के जा ही नहीं रहा था. उसको आकाश में छोड़ दिया, अगले दिन वापस आए तो देखा कि वो फिर से केज में ही बैठा है. So cage is wide open, but we are not leaving. We are so attached to this body and to this world that we don't want to leave. So so that is our situation, that we have voluntarily got ourselves bound, trapped in this miserable situation. I'll pause here for a few minutes before we go back to our India's situation. Anybody would like to say anything or questions on discussion so far?
Jai Sri Krishna. One of the observations made in the history books was that the invaders used to first send a herd of cows into a village or a kingdom they want to invade, knowing that the Indian population will not hurt a cow. And that was one of the strategies to attack. And there is this distorted interpretation of scriptures where non-violence, defending, just like Lord Sri Krishna had to convince Arjuna to raise arms and fight. I think the Indian population looked at non-violence as a virtue and did not defend their territory against the Mughal invaders. My comment is, it is so very important to have a firm understanding of our scriptures like Bhagavad Gita, so we know what is the right thing to do.
Yes,
Thank
Prabhuji.
you.
Very
Krishna.
nice. Yes, Prabhuji, very nice point. So yeah, non-violence was actually a big problem. Non-violence is okay to a certain extent, but there is a time when you have to choose Shastra over Shastra, right? So they neither had Shastra nor Shastra actually. They were not equipped with either of the knowledge. They were not equipped with the Shastric knowledge, and so they did not have any solid spiritual foundation, right? Like I said, and so lack of those practices, they were weak and got easily divided. Plus, this non-violence was actually a big problem for a long time. And if you read the history, actually, 1857, when the first time that battle happened, right, the Savoy battle, at that time, with the Jhansi Ki Rani and so many other great warriors that fought that battle, at that time, East India Company dissolved actually. So that was the first time they saw that, oh, Indian people can fight. So till then, Indians were just taking it. They were just taking this violence against their temples. Aurangzeb and so many Mughal invaders had broken their temples and destroyed so many deities, and so much scriptures had been burnt, and libraries and universities had been burnt, and whatnot. Vrindavan ke sare temples khatam ho gaye the. So imagine that we were just taking it until the Battle of 1857, when we finally pushed back and East India Company got dissolved to such extent that finally the crown, the British Empire, had to take reins in their hand and India's control under their hand instead of giving it to East India Company. So you're very right. So there is a time when you have to lift weapons. और इसीलिए भगवान ने वर्णाश्रम धर्म बनाया था, in which Kshatriyas had a role. So imagine, by dissolving Varnashram Dharma and labeling it as caste system, what a disservice we did to the country, because the Brahmanas would have taught the scriptures and Kshatriyas would have raised weapons and arms in protection of the country. But that was all dissolved by then. That was all already gone. And so we lost our position. We lost our, because of this misconception of non-violence, we became so weak that we became a plaything in the hands of these bullies. So, so what is the lesson to learn? Remember so first of all, understand the mindset of invaders. Invaders are like bullies. And what bullies do is they create divide, they create hatred, and they are just in the bodily mindset. So they are just using their bodily supremacy and causing differentiation based on the body. कि जैसे white supremacy है, कि white man's burden बोलते थे, कि इन सबको हमें civilize करना है, ये सब लोग brown लोग या black लोग, they are white man's burden. They are animalistic society, and we have taken a burden upon ourselves to civilize them. So इस तरीके से वो अपने आप को righteous बन के हमको civilize करने आए थे. The highest civilization, the most advanced are in consciousness in the world. They were trying to give them civilization. So in this way they exploited people, oppressed them, created barriers, created divide, so much fear they created. So this is how bullies work. They cause division, they cause exclusion. Exclusion कैसे किया उन्होंने, कि जैसे schools बना दिए जिसमें सिर्फ rich लोग ही जा सकते थे, और फिर वो वहां पर you had to learn English and they would be given better opportunities, job opportunities if you came out of those schools instead if you came out from Indian schools. तो जो British schools हैं उनमें से अगर आप आओगे तो आपको ज्यादा अच्छी jobs मिलेंगी. इस तरीके से they created divide in the society. So we started looking up to people that speak English or that are coming out of those schools. Everybody wanted to go to those schools, not Indian schools. So in this way, they created divides, they created exclusions. And all the time, their tendencies that we are better than others. They are power hungry people. They are conquerors and they have phobia of different things. So they are phobics. तो उनको डर भी लगता है और डराते भी हैं. Bullies का ये होता है. पर क्योंकि उनको डर लगता है, that is why somebody who's strong person, who's not mentally weak, who's the real patriots, you know, they can empower over these bullies, because bullies actually tend to be weak people themselves. But you can empower over them if you have the right knowledge, and if you are solidly situated, you don't get divided. You are not in bodily identification, but we are so much in bodily identification, we got divided easily. We fell into their trap of divisions and exclusions and things. So yes, Prinka Mataji, you want to share something?
Yes, Mataji, you know, just to add two more cents to that, this whole non-violence thing. Are you able to hear me?
Yes, Mataji.
Okay. This whole non-violence propaganda, this is something that got even promoted post our independence, because we were taught in our schools, like most of the textbooks, they still kind of say that we got independence because of non-violence, and this whole non-violence thing worked out. Somebody slaps you on the right side, give your left side, get slapped, and later on they'll leave you, kind of a thing. So this is something like even in our history, it's never taught that it was the mutiny in 1945 or something, or 46 or something, that led to our independence. But it's this whole propaganda in our education system that kind of makes you believe that, oh, it was non-violence, it was all this satyagraha, all this stuff that we got our independence because of, which is absolutely not true. Nobody gets independence because of non-violence.
Yes, Mataji, that's true. So our textbooks have been distorted, and even since independence, we are being taught wrong things. Power struggle, political struggle. So still very much, again, still lacking values that are taught by Krishna in Bhagavad Gita. We are still not practicing those values. So still power-hungry people are ruling the country, and they just teach nonsense things to the kids. And अपनी family को, अपने party को, political party को ऊपर रखने के लिए,
right,
the face of the political party, you know,
it's
saying
basically vested interest.
Right. Yes.
खुद का अच्छा रहे, खुद का परिवार अच्छा रहे, देश जाए जहाँ जाए. So yeah.
So this is one of the lessons to learn is, you know, that if we can rise above the bodily identification, if we imbibe and practice the values of Bhagavad Gita, establish a strong spiritual foundation, work as a service for people out of love for people, and have firm faith in our practices, then we will be very secure. We'll have deep roots. If you have deep roots, you know, it will be hard for a bully to pull you out. So otherwise they can sense your insecurities and can rule over you. So don't compromise on your practices. And then materially also we should become strong. You know, the country should have resources and means, and materially also we should grow and make a firm footing in the on the global front, so that it's not easy for invaders to just come in and conquer. अच्छा, एक आपसे आप लोग बताइए, what does it mean for you to be patriotic? हम लोग जैसे कि देश छोड़ के आए, तो क्या we are not patriotic? या क्या patriots कौन होते हैं? Patriotism क्या होता है? देशभक्त किसको बोलते हैं? What does it mean to you? Anybody? Rekha Mataji,
Mataji, I believe that no matter where you stay, but you carry your heritage, Indian heritage, proudly and represent, you know, your country or wherever you're from, very proudly.
Sure,
That's
yes.
what I believe.
Yeah. Patriotism basically means knowing that our country has very strong ideals, strong principles, and very strong history and heritage, and we are proud of it. We understand that our country believes in giving opportunities to everyone. We know our weaknesses also. We know our weaknesses, but we also know our strengths, and with our strengths we can give opportunities to other people. We don't differentiate between different people. We can give them resources. We can take on burdens of less resourced individuals, right? We have some common ideals between each other. And we have potential to achieve greatness, right? We are a diverse group of people, but we are united by the common dreams, common goals, common ideals, and we love our country for that type of attitude, that type of goals, and that type of dreams, and we want to fulfill those dreams and goals for our country. So that is called patriotism, right? It is a commonality of goals, principles, ideas, commonality of history, traditions, heritage, and very deep-rooted sense of identification with that land. But like you said, you don't have to be staying in that land to practice patriotism. You could support its values and its principles even living somewhere else. Like we are living here, this is our karma bhumi. So USA is our karma bhumi, India is our janma bhumi. But we living in USA, we know that USA's strengths and weaknesses. We know that it is a very great country. It has given us so many opportunities. It is a country where we can freely practice our religion. It is a very it is it is a place where Prabhupada came, and it gave opportunity to Prabhupada to spread Hare Krishna movement, right? It is where people accepted Bhagavad Gita. When India was not accepting Bhagavad Gita, USA accepted Bhagavad Gita. This is that country where people, don't necessarily, they have the potential to expand their consciousness, right? So we are also proud of USA, and this has become our karma bhumi. So we can bring the ideals, the principles, the values that we have learned from India, and we can exercise them here. We can practice them here in USA in service, with love, with universal identification, understanding our commonality with people here and people in our Janmabhoomi, and contribute to the society here. और हम दोनों जगह को contribute कर सकते हैं. इसीलिए I was saying that we don't, we have taken so much from India. We don't have to just keep taking. We can become an asset actually here in USA. We can become an asset for India also. So don't just come here to enjoy. Don't just come here to take. Come here not only to exploit the resources of this great country, because then we are no better than invader. Because invaders kya karte hain? They just want to enjoy the resources. They just want to exploit the country. So now that we have come here, we have so much land around us. We have nice people around us. We have opportunities. We don't need to exploit. We don't need to just enjoy all the time. We can become an asset here in USA. So that's why I was saying, if you follow your faith here nicely and serve the country with service attitude, proudly practice, just like people here practice, celebrate your festivals, people here are religious. People are not atheists here. So don't act like an atheist here. What Indians do sometimes when they come to USA, they act like atheists. Don't act like atheists. People here will not appreciate that, because actually, in order to try to fit in, if you really want to fit in, then adopt your religion, your culture that you had, and you can grow, you can advance, you can grow into leadership positions. You can change the social order, you can change the laws and policies, and you will be the representative of Lord because you're a devotee. So you can actually contribute to spiritual growth here, material growth here, with service attitude, with knowing your proper identity. लेकिन अगर हम अपना faith ही practice नहीं करते, then we lose our identity, we lose our roots. If you lose your identity, then you have no basis, no anchor. और जिसका कोई anchor नहीं होता, कोई basis नहीं होता, उसको हवाएं बहा के ले जाती हैं, उसको waves of time will just take it away. इसीलिए इंडिया में भी invasions इसीलिए हुए क्योंकि हमने अपनी identity खो दी थी. If we lose our identity, then the waves of time, waves of invaders and conquerors will conquer over us. The bullies will overpower us. So same thing will happen here if we don't, if we don't understand our identity. We have a very strong culture. We can practice that and proudly practice that, and give other people will also get courage from this. When you practice your rituals, your festivals, read your scriptures, this will seep into the ethos of this American society also. That is what Prabhupada actually instructed, कि इतने अच्छे से practice करो कि वो यहाँ के फैब्रिक में भी इम्बाइब हो जाए। जैसे अभी हम इंटरनेशनल फेस्टिवल प्रैक्टिस करते हैं, रथ यात्रा निकालते हैं, क्या होता है उससे कि लोग देखते हैं कि वाह कितना डाइवर्स, कितना वंडरफुल दुनिया है ये, और भगवान के कितने रूप हैं, और भगवान कितने रूपों में अपने आप को एक्सप्रेस करते हैं डिवोटीज के साथ, कितने रूपों में रेसिप्रोकेट करते हैं डिवोटीज के साथ। ये सब लोग देख सकें कि जीसस इज नॉट द ओनली फॉर्म ऑफ द लॉर्ड, देयर आर सो मेनी फॉर्म्स ऑफ द लॉर्ड, एंड दीज आर ऑल स्पिरिट सोल्स, वी आर ऑल स्पिरिट सोल्स जस्ट इन डिफरेंट बॉडीज. So when you practice like that, instead of acting like an atheist, just in the name of trying to become trying to fit into American society, Indians try to act like an atheist. So that is a very, very horrible thing to do coming to America. You should actually preach here, publicize your culture, let the people here experience your wonderful food and wonderful customs and traditions, and proudly talk about them, wear your dresses and wear your tilaks and let people see you. This gives people actually courage to follow their own culture. This gives people inspiration. This brings fearlessness ki Lord is everywhere, and he is reciprocating to this person in this way and with me in this way. To this person he has given these instructions, and to me he has given these instructions. It gives strength. This causes strong family values. This causes less mental problems. This causes stability of the health, stability of the mind, of the families, of फिर इस तरीके के लोग जो डिवाइड्स क्रिएट करते हैं, जैसे जो फियर क्रिएट करते हैं, जैसे ट्रम्प टाइप के लोग जो इतना ज्यादा प्रॉब्लम्स क्रिएट करते हैं, डिफरेंशिएट करते हैं, वॉल्स बनाना चाहते हैं, इस तरीके के लोग विल नॉट बी एबल टू कम इनटू पावर. जिनको वॉल्स बनानी है, हमको वॉल्स नहीं बनानी, हमको तो वॉल्स गिरानी है, राइट? So in this way you can you can express yourself freely in this country. So don't just try to fit in. If you really want to fit in, then express yourself properly, and people will actually respect you more. So this was my take on how we can contribute to our karma bhumi, to USA. It's we have strong dharma. Apply that dharma along with your karmas that you're doing here, and this will become a dharma kshetra. Bhagavad Gita's first verse says, Dharam kshetre kurukshetre samveta yuyutsava मामका पांडवाश्चेवा किम अकुर्वत संजय. धृतराष्ट्र पूछते हैं धर्म क्षेत्र में मेरे और पांडव के पुत्र क्या कर रहे हैं. सो यहाँ पर कौरव भी हैं और पांडव भी हैं, धार्मिक लोग भी हैं और पीपल अगेंस्ट भी हैं, लेकिन हम इस जगह को धर्म क्षेत्र बना के, लाइक कुरुक्षेत्र वाज धर्म क्षेत्र. So if you can make this karma bhumi, a dharma kshetra, then always the dharma will win. So bring the ideals and principles, the morals, the ethics that you have learned from your scriptures and apply them into your workspace, into your family, and this will become a dharma kshetra. So each of us, our body is a dharma kshetra, our family is a dharma kshetra, our community is a dharma kshetra. But we have not introduced dharma into our life. So introduce dharma into your life and you will be free in a bigger way, number one. Number two, you will always win. You will always be prosper. क्योंकि फर्स्ट वर्स ये थी भगवद गीता की, धर्म क्षेत्रे कुरुक्षेत्रे, और लास्ट वर्स क्या थी भगवद गीता की? लास्ट वर्स में भगवद गीता की संजय बोलते हैं कि यत्र योगेश्वरो कृष्णा यत्र पार्थो धनुर्धरा तत्र श्री विजयो भूतिर ध्रुवा नीतिर मतिर ममा. व्हाट डज संजय से? तो धृतराष्ट्र बोलते हैं इस धर्म क्षेत्र में मेरे और पांडवों दोनों के पुत्र हैं, वो क्या कर रहे हैं? तो पहली इंस्ट्रक्शन हमारे लिए ये है कि लेट्स मेक योर बॉडी, योर फैमिली, योर कम्युनिटी, दिस कंट्री अ धर्म क्षेत्र, वेयर यू हैव धर्मा, वेयर यू आर प्रैक्टिसिंग योर रिलीजन, योर फेथ, योर आइडियल्स, योर प्रिंसिपल्स, द वैल्यूज taught by the scriptures. Number one. Then the last verse of Bhagavad Gita, which says यत्र योगेश्वरो कृष्णा तत्र पार्थो धनुर्धरा, कि जहां पर कृष्णा है मतलब धर्म है, जहां पर अर्जुन है मतलब उसका डिवोटी है, कृष्णा के डिवोटी हैं. यत्र योगेश्वरो कृष्णा यत्र पार्थो धनुर्धरा, जहां पे धनुर्धर मतलब स्किल्ड लोग हैं, आपके जैसे हमारे जैसे स्किल्ड टैलेंटेड क्वालिटीज वाले लोग हैं, कृष्णा के डिवोटीज हैं. तत्र श्री विजयो भूतिर, वहां पर सब रहेगा, ऑपुलेंस रहेगी, श्री रहेगी, विजय रहेगी मतलब विक्ट्री रहेगी, धर्मा रहेगा. तत्र श्री विजयो भूतिर ध्रुवा नीतिर, नीति रहेगी, अच्छे मॉरल्स होंगे, अच्छे एथिक्स होंगे, और वहीं पर विक्ट्री रहेगी. This is my opinion. So this is the last verse of Bhagavad Gita. So imagine that that we can fulfill the entire purport of Bhagavad Gita by making this place, this Karm Bhumi, this USA, into a Dharma Kshetra, and we will all get all prosperity, all happiness, all joy, all victory. Everything is possible. So, but the only effort you have to make is practice your faith sincerely, and then you can contribute to the people of this country. Or ultimately, तो इसलिए हम दो चीजें कंबाइन करें, हम अपनी यूएसए की अपॉर्चुनिटीज और इंडिया की डीप स्पिरिचुअल वैल्यूज को, इंडिया की भगवद गीता की धार्मिक लेगेसी को combine करें, which is the India's greatest wealth. So you have not come here just to enjoy, just to exploit the country's resources. We can contribute. प्रभुपाद से किसी ने पूछा था कि आप यहाँ पर क्यों आए हो? हम तो ऑलरेडी क्रिश्चियंस हैं, हम सब कुछ प्रैक्टिस करते हैं, हम सब कुछ जानते हैं, आप यहाँ पे क्यों आए हो? तो प्रभुपाद ने बोला था कि सब कुछ तो आप लोग ले गए थे, लेकिन मैं यहाँ पर इसलिए आया हूँ आपको वो देने जो आप लेकर नहीं गए, जो हमारा सबसे इम्पोर्टेंट ज्यूल था, जो हमारी सबसे इम्पोर्टेंट वेल्थ थी, that was Bhagavad Gita. वो आप लेकर नहीं गए. I have come here to give you that. So this is India's greatest wealth. So distribute books, teach people, practice your faith, showcase it, talk about it openly. Don't be ashamed. Don't be an atheist here. USA will not acknowledge you for that. They will actually appreciate and acknowledge you if you're practicing your faith. So don't just be indulging in sense gratification here. You will be demeaning the opportunities that this great country is giving to you, and you will be demeaning the heritage that your own Janmbhumi has given to you. So if you want to fulfill the purports of Bhagavad Gita, then combine the opportunities of this Karam Bhumi and the dharmic heritage of your Janmbhumi, and we can make this a great opportunity for our life, and we can achieve, और इसी life में वापस back to Godhead भी जा सकते हैं. So just need to change our mentality about our faith. जो इतने सालों की invasion से हम लोग इतने suppress होकर ashamed feel करते हैं that we don't want to practice our religion. Let's break those shackles of created by the bullies. So just you can achieve freedom of the spirit, which is we are bound like a convict in a jail. So just follow the rules of the jail. Just जैसे जेल में बैठ के you can appeal to the warden. So call the names of the Lord every day and appeal to Lord, get His mercy, and you can get out of this jail. But if you're acting as an enjoyer in this jail, as a boss, exerting your lordship, just exploiting, getting into fights here, refusing to follow the rules, then your sentence will be increased, and then you're just in karmic bondage, life after life, more punishment, more jail time. So, और चैतन्य महाप्रभु की भी instruction है. He says, भारत भूमि तेज हायला मनुष्य जन्म जार जन्म सार्थक करी करा परा उपकार. He says कि अगर भारत में जन्म लिया है तो इतना तो करो, मनुष्य का जन्म मिला है वो भी भारत भूमि में, तो अपना जन्म सार्थक करने के लिए करा परा उपकार. तो महाप्रभु ने इंस्ट्रक्शन दी थी कि गिव टीच कृष्णा's इंस्ट्रक्शन, जीव दया नाम रुचि, एंड कृष्ण हरि नाम. Give these to people and do upkar, khara, para upkar. यहाँ पे लोग इतना मीट खाते हैं, इतनी animal violence है. Why don't we teach our culture to people and you save even few animals, you will get so much benedictions. Imagine so much mercy that you will get. So this struggle, this fight, this spiritual struggle is as important as the freedom struggle. You can free yourself, you can free others. Just depend on the Lord and His devotees, and declare this war on Maya. And my Guru Maharaj says, be a sage page by page, before you age, break the cage. So, इसका मतलब ये है कि every day read some Bhagavad Gita, read something, be a sage page by page. So page by page, we can each become a sage. And before you age, before you become too old, break the cage. So you can break this cage. That's all I have to share. There are so many things, of course, and I don't have that much deep understanding of the whole content, but I just wanted to combine this aspect of internal freedom and external freedom, liberation, which is the ultimate freedom, and the choices we have while we are living here in this country, how to get our identity back, how to get our respect back, how to get our position back in this world by practicing our dharma. Thank you, everyone. Would anyone like to share any points? We can pause for a few minutes. Let's see. Yes, Chandra Prabhu, please unmute. We can't hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yes, Prabhuji, please share.
I have come across the entire presentation made by you. Initially, I thought how this independence and the freedom is related to our Bhagavad Gita, and in what way she is going to continue this story. But ultimately, this is a amalgamation of talks that particularly the resident NRIs who are here, you have very nicely correlated all the things, all the history for which was responsible for, and how the invaders have attacked, and how why the people were with the not able to fight, and then what were the weaknesses, and how only non-violence has not been the cause. There were so many leaders like Subhash Chandra Bose and others. They have different philosophy, and that has a lot of impact to bring this freedom. But you have also one point you have mentioned very nicely. It is the spiritual freedom. Besides, although politically freedom 76 years have passed, but still we are still lacking the financial freedom and also the spiritual freedom also. The devotees of Lord Krishna or the ISKCON people are popularizing our culture, our religion, having great values in this way. And to the, if such type of knowledge is particularly the students who are here and the kids, just like you organize a program at the India Culture Center and all that. This is very much necessary because although I am come from India, I am residing there. I see so many evils, but the religion in the different forms, one or the other form, it is tradition. But knowledge which you are have brought, besides being born, but as a karma whom you are serving here, and also performing a very good job that we appreciate. This is very important that in our particularly in this new generation of ours, being in abroad, maybe America or in other countries also, if we are retaining our great wealth of this our religion and traditions and inculcate on children, then we can retain our knowledge, and then are only the Desh patriot, real patriot. Merely being born in a country and not following the culture, tradition, and heritage of the country is not going to serve to anybody. But I am really very much appreciative to you and to all those who are associated here in your program that let us continue. And such type of presentations made on the occasion of Independence Day, that gives a very good message. When I will go back to India, I will see that what a good work you people are doing over here. And thanks to one and all. And let us propagate our great world to others, not only to the Indians, and to others also to make it understand. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Nicely summarized everything, yeah.
Yeah.
Couple of things I would like to say we can do on a daily basis or on a routinely basis. One, celebrate our festivals with pride here in India. Use your names properly, Indian names that have been given. Don't just change them for the sake of easy use of Americans. जैसे कोई रविंदर है वो रॉकी बुलाएगा अपने आप को या ऐसे no, use your names and your kids names properly. Teach Americans to say it, pronounce it properly. Don't change it. Wear your clothes, your tilaks, your jewelry, your markings, जैसे तिलक वगैरह. If it's not allowed in workplace, which is understandable, but at least outside, especially when you're celebrating your rituals and festivals, wear your clothes. Speak your language and teach your language to the kids. बच्चों को लोकल लैंग्वेज सिखाओ, उसमें बात करना. हिंदी है, तेलुगु है, तमिल है, पंजाबी है, whatever is your local language, speak that. And practice your faith without any deviation. Do not compromise. And most importantly, contribute to your local temples. तो भी आप यहाँ पर, क्योंकि इतनी लैंड है यहाँ पर और इतने आपने देखा है जगह जगह चर्च होते हैं, and nobody is going to stop. यहाँ की गवर्नमेंट इतनी सपोर्टिव है, you will be able to build a temple. But the problem is not the government, the problem is not the people here, the problem is our own people who do not contribute to the local endeavors at all. So support them in whatever way you can, whether it's services, whether it's spreading the name, whether it's monetary donations, whether it's land, or whether it's some connections, or however you can support, try to support the local endeavors. So local temples, you can keep giving as much you want to, let's say Jagannath Puri in India or Balaji or Tirupati in India, but those temples are already well flourishing. What we need is in smaller places like here, like in Tennessee and so many other places where there is a need. Temples are like spiritual institutions where Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam is taught, where people come to chant the names of the Lord, where they look upon the deities of the Lord and do Vigraha Seva, where they eat prasadam. So where there is association, where people meet each other, like-minded people, they sit and sing and dance together and eat together. So let's help in building these institutions. So support the endeavors of the local temple. So just develop this pride again and stop being ashamed. It's a very, very advanced consciousness. It is the highest knowledge there is. Bhagavad Gita knowledge will answer
बोल रही है भाई नताशा जी.
that even like Bible and other faiths cannot answer. Bhagavad Gita answers all those questions. So please spread this knowledge. आप वो सब क्वेश्चन, अगर आपको खुद को equipped होंगे with the knowledge, अच्छे से read करो भगवद गीता, then when people ask you questions, you will be able to answer to them. And if you have any doubts, ask other people, ask other devotees about Bhagavad Gita and its principles and its knowledge, and you can answer any questions. All the questions about life are answered. जो भी आपको चाहिए, life, after life, before life, next life, this world, other world, the laws of this world, about the Lord, about his expansions, about his various forms, about his various names, about his qualities, about his pastimes. Everything is answered. And people have different practices. Yes, there are so many different temples. There is Swaminarayan, there is ISKCON, there is so many others. And they're all propagating different moods of the Lord. But at least follow something, we cannot just waste our life and not advance spiritually. So spiritual growth will give the ultimate freedom. Thank you, Chandra Prabhu, for sharing so nicely. Anybody else would like to share any points that I missed or make any corrections? Please do. और एक पॉइंट जो मैंने बार बार मेंशन किया था, दैट वाज अबाउट द फ्रीडम, रियल फ्रीडम, कि हम हमेशा बोलते हैं कि ये करना हमारा फ्रीडम है, हमारा अधिकार है, कुछ भी खाना, कुछ भी पीना, इसके बारे में भी थोड़ी बात हुई थी. सो प्लीज रिमेंबर दैट पॉइंट ऑल्सो व्हेन समबडी आस्क्स यू कि हम ये करने के लिए फ्री क्यों नहीं है, वो करने के लिए फ्री क्यों नहीं है, हम फ्री हैं. तो फ्रीडम भी एक दायरे में प्रैक्टिस की जाती है, बिकॉज वी आर कन्फाइंड इन दिस बॉडी, वी हैव टू फॉलो सर्टेन प्रिंसिपल्स, अदरवाइज दोज सेम थिंग्स अल्टीमेटली कॉज वेरी बॉन्डेज इन अ वेरी वेरी बैड वे. You can always use the analogy of smoking, for example, कि कोई कह सकता है मैं फ्री हूँ स्मोक करने के लिए, लेकिन एक दिन फिर कैंसर उसको ऐसे बाइंड कर लेगा, जबकि वो एक फ्री एक हेल्दी बहुत ही अमेजिंग लाइफ जी सकता था, लेकिन उसने अपने आप को डिजीज करके अपनी बॉडी को बाउंड कर लिया. सो इस तरीके से हम फ्री हैं, लेकिन एक सर्टेन डायमीटर अराउंड अस, द सर्टेन बाउंड्री, सर्टेन पिलर्स ऑफ फ्रीडम दैट वी शुड अपहोल्ड व्हाइल एक्सरसाइजिंग दैट फ्रीडम. तो ये भी एक पॉइंट था दैट आई वांटेड टू रियली हिट हार्ड ऑन, क्योंकि लोग कई बार फ्रीडम के नाम पे सोचते हैं कि हम सब कुछ कर सकते हैं, कुछ भी चलता है, बट ऐसा सब कुछ नहीं चलता. Certain restrictions have to apply, conditions apply in this body. Anita Mataji, Poonam Mataji, Priyanka Mataji, you want to share anything? Rekha Mataji.
Just 2 points, Mataji. Hare Krishna. बहुत like as always very beautiful class and काफी अच्छे से explain किया आपने सब कुछ, but two quick points.
Yes,
एक की जो आपने बोला कि हमको अपने weaknesses भी पता है और strength भी पता है. So how we can use our weakness, like how we can use our strength and to suppress the weakness. I think that is what I am carrying away from this class. और हमारा strength भी बहुत है, अनगिनत है, that we can use to lessen the weaknesses that we have. एक दूसरी बात जो
एक सेकंड, एक इस पे एक एग्जांपल देती हूँ मैं आपको. मैं आपको Prabhupada example देती हूँ. Look, Prabhupada knew the weakness of India is that they listen to anything Western people say. ठीक है? So he tried for many years to propagate Bhagavad Gita's knowledge in India. For many years he tried. Nobody nobody was ready to hear. Bhagavad Gita की knowledge किसी को नहीं सुननी थी, India में भी. He that people would hear it once he takes it to America. So he made Bhagavad Gita Western. He brought it to America. Then he brought American disciples to India to teach Indian people, and then they were receptive. So this is their weakness, and he knew this is the weak pulse of India.
Right.
कि बाहर की वेस्टर्न की चीजों से अट्रैक्टेड हैं बहुत ज्यादा, इतना भूत है वेस्टर्न चीजों का that they will be inspired only when Americans start following this, because America is the peak of everything, it is the highest. So let's call America in, and when they start doing it, then India will hear. So that's how he converted the weakness into strength. Yes, Mataji, next point.
सेकेंड वन जो रूल्स के ऊपर है, तो ऐसे ही मैंने किसी नॉट डिवोटी बट वो आप जानते हो उनको, तो उनका एक स्टेटमेंट था, कायदे में रहोगे तो फायदे में रहोगे.
Yes, Mataji. Exactly.
तो कायदे में रह के फायदे में रहना ज्यादा अच्छा है.
राइट. जैसे पतंग होती है ना, काइट की भी स्ट्रिंग होती है. अगर उसको स्ट्रिंग को काट दें तो वो उधर उधर चली जाएगी, राइट, उड़ जाएगी. लेकिन अगर वो आपकी स्ट्रिंग हाथ में है तो वो दूसरों को भी कट कर सकती है. इट विल फ्लाई हाई एज यू वांट. सो सिमिलरली some restraint, some discipline is needed. जैसे कि कोई बर्नर है, उसमें भी रेगुलेटर होता है, तो उसको अगर हम ऐसे ही छोड़ दें वो पूरा ब्लास्ट हो जाएगा. So some control knob is needed. Otherwise that freedom that we exercise will be like an uncontrolled agitation, which is not good for the society or for us. Some discipline restraint needs to be practiced. Yes, Mataji. I like that point.
I would like to share something.
Yes, Mataji.
Even like when we are following our religion, or we are, let's say, going to Gurdwara, or we're going to temple or wherever, but I have noticed that people only come there mostly for socializing. And if somebody wants to focus on doing the kirtan or whatever, they always been criticized. And it's really sad that even if they show that they're following the culture or the religion, but still they put down on people who are really following that. It's very sad. Like people are doing it superficially too a lot of times, and we all need to understand we are going there, we are putting in our time and effort, we need to do it wholeheartedly. This is what I think.
Sure. Yes, Mataji. Yes, Mataji, that happens, but temples, gurdwaras can be a place like churches. इसलिए वहां पर कई बार जैसे चर्च में यहाँ पे ऐसे बनाए जाते हैं टेनिस कोर्ट्स, पिकलबॉल कोर्ट्स, पूल टेबल, ये सब चीजें रखी जाती हैं because कई लोग उसके लिए आते हैं. But the point is somehow or the other get people into the spiritual institute at least, and so they will get some pious credits, and then slowly they may start engaging in services. They may start chanting the names. They may start doing various spiritual activities also. So everybody is on a different plane, Mataji. कुछ लोग अभी सिर्फ enjoy ही करना चाहते हैं. So don't judge, but just do your own sevas. Show by your example.
Right. The reason I said that, because I was criticized last Sunday before last, and there's like I'm trying to follow in the Purushottam month. They're saying like give up one anartha, so I'm working on it. I haven't got even 1% of it, but I tried not to sit in a group chat or something. So I said my husband likes to sit longer at the Gurdwara, so I felt that after the Gurdwara is over, I can just do the Sheva and all that stuff. So a couple of my friends said, yeah, you just go do Sheva, you just don't sit and chat with us. So she kind of said in a criticizing way, like I'm
That's okay,
crazy,
Mataji. You just have to tolerate the provocations. It's okay. Just tolerate. That's one of the qualities of a devotee. You just tolerate the provocations. Yeah, they don't mean any harm. It's just a harmless comment. Don't take things like this too seriously. Just do your seva, show by your example.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to work on. I hopefully one day I'll get there,
Hmm.
you know.
Yes, Mataji. Anybody else would like to comment? If not, we'll stop. Raghu Prabhu, any closing remarks? Thank you for joining so diligently, and it looks like you're at work also, so I really appreciate Haribol, and actually thanks to everyone.
Jai Sri Krishna, a million thanks to you and Dr. Nirbhay for bringing Bhagavad Gita to the doorsteps of people in Memphis and Jackson. I'm tearing up actually. Thank you so much. Jai Sri
Haribol.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji. I really appreciate. We need inspiration, so please keep encouraging us so we can keep doing this service. We're just purifying ourselves. We're, like I said before, we're just students of Bhagavad Gita, and by sharing, we feel we learn more. So thank you for inspiring. You all know much, much more than we are sharing here, but this just gives me a chance, a seva to do and to purify myself. Okay, we'll stop. Please keep joining as usual. We'll meet on Sunday. Happy Independence Day again. God save America and India. Please keep serving, inspiring everyone. Keep reading, keep chanting. Today is the last day of Purushottam month also. Every morning we have decided to read Bhagavad Gita 15 verses. 15 verses करके पूरा Bhagavad Gita finish करेंगे about 45-46 days में. So please read in the morning if you're available. It takes only 10 minutes at 5 a.m. in the morning. Okay, thank you everyone. Vancha kaltarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyaiva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai. Bharat Bhumi and USA ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. All glories to
Hare
Guru and
Krishna.